vlog, I'm going to talk about why this Mazda's crap.
Hub Nut, sponsored by Lancaster.
So I caused some upset amongst the Ford fans with my recent review of the Escort Mark 6 Cabriolet, and I do regard it a Mark 6, not a Mark 7. Sorry, it's really wet today, there's puddles everywhere. But yeah, I guess some people don't like it when you don't like the cars they like, and I can understand that. I get very upset with people dissing cars I like. I find it quite amusing that a couple of people said, how dare you slate the Escort when you drive a Skoda? Oh, no, that's not going to work. I'll have to edit that out. And I just find that quite ironic, to be honest. I mean, yeah, try and defend your car by slagging off another. That's not very clever, that's not how it works. But yeah, people were saying I was being too picky with it, and there's a fair point there. I mean, it has to be said, with the sort of cars I tend to own, I tend to be less picky because I accept they're going to have foibles. That said, the Skoda Favourite didn't have much in the way of downsides. It was a really good car, really. It just lacked a little in refinement. I couldn't really fault it. This car, I definitely can fault. There's a lot I like about it. It's a lot easier to make progress in than the Skoda. It's just got usefully more power. It's a bit quieter. In some ways, it's completely obliterated my view. In some ways, better, and in some ways not. But I guess, you know, having power steering and just that bit more torque, so you're not chasing the power quite so much, and a few more luxuries. Oh dear, am I getting soft in my old age? But I think it's mostly just the fact that this car feels a lot more nimble. You can approach a bend, even approach a bend thinking, oh, I'm going a bit quick here, and have every confidence it's just going to sail around it, and it does. But yeah, I do like the quiet, but in terms of noise, the big problem with this car is road noise, especially on some road surfaces. The tyre roar is epic. Kind of reminds me of the Toyota Starlet. That also was terrible for road noise. It also doesn't seem to demist very well, which could potentially be related to the leaky sunroof, which thankfully seems to have stopped dripping lately. So it obviously filled up a bit when it was parked up, and now seems much better. I don't like the fact the mist function on the column stalk is a push away. That's not very natural movement. It's quite stiff as well. I like to use the mist function. That's your flick wipe, your single wipe. I like to use that quite a lot, and I just prefer a nice a flick down. Is much better than trying to flick away. You need a fair bit of power in your fingers to flick away. Good job I'm a bass player, I guess. I mean, I don't mind the column stalks being the wrong way around. I've got the indicators on the right hand, and that's fine. I quite like that. And it's nice that I can go through the front wiper settings without having to take my hand off the wheel, unlike the Honda and the Rover 45, where you have to twist the end of the stalk. That's rubbish. The whole point of a column stalk is you don't take your hand off the wheel. And in Wales, you do tend to find yourself cycling through the wiper modes fairly frequently. I don't like how firm the seats are either. I mean, given its firm suspension, having firm seats as well, yeah, it's one of those cars you don't really want to drive it with a wallet in your back pocket, let's put it that way. And again, it reminds me of when I jumped aboard the ZDOS 9 after jumping out of my Rover 45, and the owner of the ZDOS was appalled that I found my Rover more comfortable. But it was true, the seats were softer, the suspension was softer. This feels very firm, very focused, in much the same way as the ZDOS. So, you know, nice handling, lovely turning, but yeah, comfort not the strongest point of this car, which is a shame because I have to drive 260 miles in it today. I have to say, I don't think the rear wiper does a brilliant job of clearing the rear window. Oh, there goes the drippage again, just as I thought it had stopped. That's because we're going back downhill again. Headlining is emptying out. So yeah, rear wiper could be better. but you know, it has one. The heated rear windows quick, and the engine really gets up to temperature very quickly indeed. That is a big difference to quite a lot of my cars. And the temperature gauge works. That's good. So yeah, there are definitely positives. And while mucking about and having a look in my door pocket, I found the service history, so I'm going to have a breeze through that later and we'll see what's been done, if anything. Might make quite interesting reading. I'm hoping there's a code in there for the radio, which I managed to lose last night by disconnecting the power. That was a bit annoying. So I've got no tunes today. Having to concentrate this bit is a bit hard work. I mean, I don't have to do 55 miles an hour down here, I guess, but I kind of am. It's a car that just seems to flow, and when you take your foot off, it doesn't really seem all that interested in slowing down, so you do have to use the brakes. I can't work out if that's because the idle is a little over-eager, or if it just rolls really, really nicely. Slight issue is the gutters aren't very good, so tends to drip water in when you open the doors, but given the state of the sunroof, perhaps that isn't a major fault. Slow down for the kettle grid, only a bit. Oh, the central locking doesn't work on the near side rear door, so there you go, there's a problem. So yeah, it isn't that I can't niggle about other cars, and perhaps I was a bit over niggly with the Escort, and it's true. I mean, the looks of a car set the scene for me, like much like the looks of a beautiful lady. I mean, we should be about more than looks, but we're not, and we can try and pretend and say, oh, the character is more important, but it isn't. It's the looks that matter, especially when it comes to cars. And I think this car looks fantastic. Others say it looks bland. I think it looks amazing. And I think the Escort Mark 6 looks terrible. And you might not agree with me, but nonetheless, that is my view. I think it's a horrible looking car. It's just like they didn't really bother styling it. And when you consider how good Peugeot 306, Citroen ZX, and even the Vauxhall Astras look designed. I mean, the Mark III Saloon's a bit of an oddity, but yeah. And let's just have a quick tangent to discuss how good Vauxhall estates usually look. You know, Astra Mark 2, 3, 1 even. All the Astras and the Carltons, fantastic looking estates. Even the Vauxhall Vectra estate, I think, is a fantastic looking car from the back. From the front, I think those Vectras look like someone's tried to inflate a Mark II Cavalier. Without success. Or Mark III, maybe Mark III Cavalier. Anyway, I must push on. I've got to get all the way to Warminster today. It's a fair old trek, and I'm steaming up in here, so I'm going to have to put more fanage on. I'm not sure if I dare risk opening a window yet. I've thought of more bad things about this car. The reverse light, terrible. There's only one, and yeah, it's hopeless. I mean, I live in a very dark place, and the other day I had to give up trying to reverse park it in the dark because I had no idea what was behind me, and that kind of what doesn't help is look how small the rear window is, because it's so flat. It's a bit of a letterbox, and the raising waistline, it's something I hate about modern cars. You feel a bit hemmed in, and the over-the-shoulder vision is terrible. So that's more bad stuff. More good, the mirrors. They're a nice size, and yeah, you don't find there's a massive blind spot. So that's good. That's better than an Escort. And the column stalks, I quite like the feel of them. They still make a slightly horrible noise when you operate them, but they're quite nice in the slight function, you know, where you just lift the stalk slightly. It's a nice feel to them then. Something also also shared with the Alfa Romeo 164, oddly. Very nice column stalks in an Alfa Romeo 164. But I'm getting on for about 80 miles covered so far today, and the back is starting to hurt already. These seats with the ridiculous lumbar support, very, very much like the seats in the Subaru Impreza. Yeah, I just don't seem to fit them. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave comments if you disagree with me or if you don't disagree with me. I will see you in a future video. Farewell.